I found out about the Europe trip from Instagram. Not from a family text. Not from a phone call. From my sister posting a carousel of screenshots, flight confirmations to Paris, hotel bookings in Rome, a wine tour in Tuscany. Caption: 3 weeks in Europe with my favorite people. Cannot wait. I was tagged in exactly 0 of the photos. My name is Alex Morrison. I'm 28 years old. And I was about to discover that favorite people was code for everyone except you. I called my mom that night. Casual, like I hadn't just seen evidence that my entire family was planning an international vacation without me. Hey Mom. Saw Jenna's post about Europe. Looks amazing. Oh, you saw that? She sounded flustered. We were going to tell you. When were you going to tell me? Well, it's still in the planning stages. Nothing's final yet. I could hear voices in the background. Dad asking who was on the phone. My brother Tyler saying something I couldn't make out. Mom, Jenna posted flight confirmations. Hotels are booked. That sounds pretty final. Silence. Then, why don't you come over for dinner Sunday? We can talk about it then. Sunday dinner. The family tradition where we all gathered, pretended everything was fine, and avoided talking about anything real until dessert. Sure. Sunday works. I hung up with that familiar feeling in my gut. The one I'd been getting since childhood. The sense that I was always just outside the circle, close enough to see in but never quite invited through. Let me back up. I'm the middle child in a family of 5. Jenna's 31, married to Brad, 2 kids. Tyler's 25, just graduated law school, Dad's pride and joy. Then there's me, working as a freelance graphic designer, single, living in a studio apartment in Portland. Not the life my parents envisioned for me. Jenna followed the script perfectly. Met Brad in college, married at 24, kids by 27. She's a stay-at-home mom now, living 20 minutes from our parents in suburban Seattle. Tyler's following an even better script. Law school at Dad's alma mater, already has a job lined up at a firm Dad has connections with. Dating a girl from a good family, whatever that means. Me? I dropped out of business school after 2 years because I hated every second of it. Taught myself graphic design. Built a freelance career that pays my bills but doesn't impress anyone at dinner parties. My parents never said they were disappointed. They didn't have to. It was in every. So you're still doing the design thing? And when are you going to get a real job? And we just worry about your future, honey. The distance between us had grown slowly. Missed calls I didn't return became missed birthdays they didn't acknowledge became holidays I stopped attending became, whatever this was. A family trip planned without even pretending to include me. Sunday came. I drove the 3 hours from Portland to Seattle, stomach tight with dread. I arrived at 6 p.m. Everyone was already there. Jenna and Brad's kids were running around the yard. Tyler and his girlfriend Emma were helping Mom in the kitchen. Dad was at the grill. Nobody noticed me pull up. I stood in the driveway for a moment, watching through the window. My family, laughing, cooking, existing perfectly without me. Like a movie I wasn't cast in. I walked in through the side gate. Tyler saw me first. Alex! Didn't think you'd make it. Mom invited me. Right, yeah? Cool. He turned back to Emma, resuming whatever conversation I'd interrupted. Jenna came over, gave me a quick hug. Hey! How's Portland? Good. Busy. That's great. Then she was gone, chasing after her 5-year-old who was trying to eat dirt. I found Mom in the kitchen. She was making her famous potato salad, the one she only made for special occasions. Alex, honey! I'm so glad you came. Can you grab the paprika from the spice cabinet? I grabbed it, handed it to her. So, Europe? Let's wait until after dinner. Don't want to get into heavy stuff before we eat. Heavy stuff. Like it was some complicated family drama instead of a simple question. Why wasn't I invited to the family vacation? Dinner was loud. Jenna's kids were loud. Tyler was telling some story about law school that made Dad laugh. Emma was charming everyone with her smile and perfect manners. I sat at the end of the table, picking at my burger, waiting. Finally, after plates were cleared and Mom brought out pie, Dad cleared his throat. So, I suppose we should talk about the trip. Everyone got quiet. Jenna looked at her plate. Tyler suddenly found his phone very interesting. We've been planning this Europe trip for about 6 months, Dad continued. 3 weeks, Paris to Rome, hitting all the major spots. It's something your mother and I have always wanted to do, and we decided to make it a family thing. Okay, I said. When do we leave? Dad looked at Mom. Mom looked at Jenna. Nobody looked at me. Alex, Mom started gently. This trip is expensive. Really expensive. We're talking $15,000 per person when you factor in flights, hotels, tours, food. We've been saving for years. I have savings. I can pay my own way. It's not just about the money, Dad said, voice harder now. It's about who this trip is for. What does that mean? He set down his fork, looked at me directly for the first time all evening. This is a trip for family. Real family. People who show up. People who are invested in being part of this unit. The table was dead silent. Even the kids stopped moving. Real family. I repeated. You know what I mean. Jenna's here every week. Tyler calls us almost daily. We barely hear from you. You miss holidays. You don't come to the kids' birthday parties. You've made it pretty clear you're not that interested in being part of this family. So I'm not real family. That's not what I'm saying. That's exactly what you're saying. Mom reached across the table. Alex, honey, we're not trying to hurt you. We're just saying that this trip is for people who prioritize family. Who make time for us. And you haven't been doing that. I looked around the table. Jenna wouldn't meet my eyes. Tyler was still staring at his phone. Brad looked uncomfortable. Emma looked confused. I live 3 hours away, I said quietly. I work freelance, which means unpredictable hours. I can't always make Sunday dinners or last-minute birthday parties. You could if you wanted to, Dad said. You could if we mattered to you. I drove 3 hours to be here tonight. After we invited you specifically to tell you about the trip. That doesn't count. I sat there processing. They'd planned a 3-week European vacation. Booked everything. Made itineraries. And not once did anyone think to include me. Not once did anyone call and say, "Hey, we're planning this, do you want to come?" They just decided I wasn't real family and moved on. I smiled. Not because I was happy. But because I'd learned a long time ago that the only way to survive this family was to not show them when they hurt you. Okay, I said. Makes sense. Have fun. I stood up. Where are you going? Mom asked. Home. I've got work in the morning. Alex, come on. Don't leave like this. Like what? You told me I'm not real family. I'm just respecting that. Don't be dramatic, Dad said. We're being honest with you. If you don't like it, maybe you should think about why. I grabbed my jacket from the back of the chair. Thanks for dinner. The burger was great. Jenna caught me at the door. Alex, wait. They didn't mean it like that. How did they mean it? She didn't have an answer. I drove back to Portland in silence. 3 hours of darkness and highway lines and the slow realization that I'd been an extra in my own family for years and just finally got written out of the script. When I got home, I sat in my car in the parking lot of my apartment building for 20 minutes. Just sitting. Breathing. Processing. Then I pulled out my laptop and opened my banking app. 6 months ago, my parents had asked to borrow money. Dad's business hit a rough patch, needed to cover payroll for a month. Asked if I could loan them $10,000. I'd sent it the same day. Because that's what family does. They promised to pay me back in 3 months. It had been 6 months. I'd never asked about it, never brought it up, because I didn't want to seem like I was keeping score. But if I wasn't a real family member, then this wasn't a family loan. It was a debt. I opened my email and started typing. The email was simple. Professional. The kind you'd send to any debtor. Dad, 6 months ago, you borrowed $10,000 from me for business expenses. You said you'd repay within 3 months. It's been 6. Since I'm not real family per tonight's conversation, I'm treating this as a standard loan. I need repayment within 30 days. Wire transfer details below. Alex. I sent it at 11 p.m. Closed my laptop. Went to bed. The next morning, my phone was ringing before I'd even had coffee. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. Then Dad called. Voicemail. Then Jenna. Voicemail. Finally, a text from Mom. Alex, we need to talk about your email. This is very hurtful. I typed back. The $10,000? Or calling me not real family? She didn't respond. I went about my day. Had client calls, worked on designs, ordered lunch. My phone kept buzzing, but I ignored it. Around 3 p.m., Tyler called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Dude, what the hell? He said immediately. What? That email to Dad. You can't seriously be demanding money right now. It's been 6 months. He said 3 months. It's Dad. He's family. You don't charge family like they're some random business. Right. Except I'm not real family, remember? So standard loan terms apply. You're being petty. I'm being clear. If I'm family, I'm invited on family trips. If I'm not family, I get repaid for loans. Pick one. He hung up. That evening, I got an email from Dad. Subject: We need to talk like adults. I opened it. Alex, your mother and I are very disappointed in how you're handling this. We understand you're upset about the trip, but demanding repayment like this is childish and vindictive. The $10,000 was a family loan. We were planning to pay you back when our finances improved. Demanding it now, especially in writing like some kind of creditor, shows a fundamental misunderstanding of how family works. If you want to have an adult conversation about this, call me. Dad. I read it twice. Then I replied. Dad. Family shows up for each other. Family includes each other in major life events. Family doesn't tell one member they're not real enough to be included. You've made it clear I don't meet your standards for family membership. That's fine. But that makes this a business transaction. I'll expect payment within 30 days or I'll pursue other options. Alex. I didn't know what other options meant. Small claims court? Collections? But it sounded official enough. The next day, Jenna showed up at my apartment. I opened the door to find her standing there with coffees and that concerned older sister expression she'd perfected over the years. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She came in, looked around my tiny studio like she was seeing it for the first time. She probably was. She'd never visited before. Nice place. She lied. It's 400 square feet. Let's not pretend. She sat on my couch. I took the desk chair. Alex, you need to drop this loan thing. It's tearing Mom and Dad apart. They told me I'm not real family. They didn't mean it like that. How did they mean it? She sighed. They meant you're not as present. You don't call, you don't visit. They feel like they have to chase you for any kind of relationship. I live 3 hours away. I work irregular hours. That doesn't make me not family. But you have to admit, you're not as involved as Tyler and me. Because you live 20 minutes away and don't work. That's not a fair comparison. It's not about fair, it's about effort. Mom and Dad feel like they put in all the effort, and you give nothing back. I stared at her. I gave them $10,000. That's not the same as being present. Apparently it's not the same as being family either. She set down her coffee. What do you want, Alex? Really? Do you want the money or do you want to punish them? I want to be treated like I matter. Then act like you matter to them. Call more. Visit more. Show them you care. I shouldn't have to audition to be considered real family. That's not what this is. Then what is it? She didn't have an answer. After she left, I sat in my apartment feeling hollow. Maybe they were right. Maybe I was being petty. Maybe I should just forget the money and the trip and go back to being the peripheral family member who everyone tolerates, but nobody misses. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Brad, Jenna's husband. We barely ever talk directly. Hey man. Jenna doesn't know I'm texting you. But I wanted to say I get it. I've watched how they treat you for years. You're not wrong. I stared at the message for a long time. Then he sent another. Also, for what it's worth, they could afford to pay you back. They just don't want to because they think you'll fold. What do you mean they can afford it? Your dad's business is fine. Has been for months. They've been planning this Europe trip that whole time. They have the money. Something cold settled in my chest. They'd had the money to pay me back for months. They'd just chosen not to. Chosen to spend it on a trip I wasn't invited to instead. I texted back. Thanks for telling me. Don't mention it. Seriously. Jenna would destroy me. That night, I made a decision. Not out of anger exactly, but clarity. I wasn't going to beg to be included. I wasn't going to apologize for wanting basic respect. And I wasn't going to pretend money I'd loaned in good faith was somehow invalid because they decided I wasn't family enough. I opened my laptop and started researching small claims court procedures. 2 days later, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this Alex Morrison? Yes? This is Patricia Holden. I'm the travel agent handling your family's Europe trip. I'm calling because there seems to be an issue with one of the credit cards on file. I think you have the wrong number. I'm not going on that trip. Oh. Well, the card on file is listed under your name. I assume. My stomach dropped. What card? A Visa ending in 4782. It's been used for several of the hotel deposits. That's my card. Yes, that's what our records show. I'm calling because one of the charges was declined and I need to process it again. I sat down. How many charges have gone through on that card? Let me check. Looks like 4 charges totaling about $6,200. They'd used my credit card. Without asking. Without telling me. And now they were calling because they needed to charge more. Don't process anything else, I said carefully. I'm going to need to dispute those charges. Oh. Is there a problem with the card? There's a problem with it being used without my authorization. Silence on the other end. Then, carefully. I see. Well, if you're disputing the charges, I'll need to inform your family that those hotel deposits will be cancelled. That's fine. It might affect their ability to book alternative accommodations. We're 6 weeks out and Europe in summer is very busy. I understand. I hung up and immediately called my credit card company. Reported the charges as unauthorized. They said they'd investigate and reverse them within 7 to 10 business days. Then I texted my mom. Did you use my credit card for the Europe trip? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally, we were going to tell you. You used my card without asking. We thought you'd want to help, even if you weren't coming. I almost laughed. Almost. I just disputed all the charges. The deposits are being cancelled. My phone started ringing immediately. I declined the call. Then a text from Dad. You need to call the credit card company back right now and undo this. Me. No. Dad, those hotel deposits are non-refundable. If they're cancelled, we lose everything. Me. You used my card without permission. Those charges were fraud. Dad, it's not fraud when it's family. Me. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. He called again. I declined. Then Jenna. Alex, please. The kids are so excited about this trip. Don't punish them. Me. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm disputing fraudulent charges on my credit card. Jenna. You're being vindictive. This isn't about the money anymore. Me. You're right. It's about the fact that I'm apparently not family enough to invite, but I'm family enough to fund your vacation without even being asked. Tyler called. I let it go to voicemail. When I listened later, he was furious. You're destroying this trip out of spite. That's pathetic, dude. We're all trying to do something nice as a family, and you're sitting in your apartment being bitter because you can't handle not being the center of attention. Grow up. I saved that voicemail. Figured I might need evidence later of how nice this family trip was. That evening, Brad texted again. I'm guessing you found out about the card? How did you know? Jenna just spent an hour on the phone with your mom trying to figure out how to salvage the hotel bookings. They're panicking. Good. Your dad's threatening to sue you. For what? Stopping them from committing credit card fraud? I don't think he's thought it through that far. I set my phone down and looked around my small apartment. 400 square feet, barely enough room for a bed and a desk. But it was mine. Paid for with my own money. Built with my own work. They thought I'd fold. Thought I'd back down to keep the peace like I always had. But something had shifted. Maybe it was hearing real family out loud. Maybe it was discovering they'd been spending my money while excluding me. Maybe it was just 28 years of being treated like an optional add-on finally catching up with me. I wasn't folding this time. And judging by the 17 missed calls on my phone, they were starting to realize it. The credit card company called me 3 days later. Mr. Morrison, we've completed our investigation into the disputed charges. All 4 transactions have been reversed and credited back to your account. The merchants have been notified. Thank you. We've also flagged your card for additional security. If anyone attempts to use it without your authorization again, it'll be declined immediately. I hung up feeling vindicated and empty in equal measure. My phone had been quiet for 2 days. No calls, no texts. Radio silence from the entire family. I'd started to think maybe it was over. Maybe they'd just write me off completely and move on. Then Mom showed up at my apartment. I opened the door to find her standing there, and for the first time in my life, she looked old. Tired. Like the weight of everything had finally caught up to her. Can we talk? She asked quietly. I stepped aside. She came in, sat on my couch, looked around the apartment the same way Jenna had. I didn't know about the credit card, she said immediately. Your father did it. He told me you'd agreed to help with costs. I didn't. I know. I confronted him about it. We had a huge fight. I sat in the desk chair. Waited. The hotels are cancelled. She continued. The deposits are gone. The whole trip is falling apart. We can't rebook anything at these prices, not this late. I'm sorry that happened. Are you? I thought about it. I'm sorry you got caught in the middle. But I'm not sorry I stopped them from using my money without asking. She twisted her hands together. Your father is furious. He says you've destroyed the family? I disputed fraudulent charges. That's not destroying anything. To him it is. This trip was supposed to be his dream. Something he's been planning for years. And now it's gone. He told me I wasn't real family, Mom. Then he used my credit card to pay for a trip I wasn't invited on. How is that okay? It's not okay. I know it's not. But did you have to go nuclear like this? What was I supposed to do? Ask nicely for them to stop committing fraud? She flinched at the word fraud. That's a very harsh way to describe it. What would you call it? She didn't answer. Just sat there looking defeated. Alex, I need you to understand something. Your father isn't good at emotions. He doesn't know how to say he's hurt, so he says hurtful things instead. When he said you weren't real family, what he meant was, Don't rewrite what he said. He meant exactly what he said. You're not being fair. Neither is he. Neither are you. I've been the afterthought in this family for years. The one you forget to invite, forget to call, forget exists until you need something from me. And when I finally push back, I'm the bad guy. That's not true. When's my birthday, Mom? She opened her mouth. Closed it. August 15th? 19th. You forgot this year. No call, no text. Jenna posted about her kid's soccer game that day. Tyler posted about his bar exam results. You commented on both. But my birthday? Nothing. Her eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry. I've been so busy with the grandkids. I know. They're real family. I get it. That's not what I meant. But it's what you showed me. We sat in silence. She wiped her eyes with a tissue from her purse. What do you want from us, Alex? Tell me what would fix this. I want you to see me. Actually see me. Not as the kid who moved away and disappointed you, but as a person who's trying his best with what he has. We do see you. You see a version of me that doesn't exist. The one who should have stayed in business school, should have gotten a corporate job, should have married young and given you more grandkids. That's not who I am. So we're just supposed to accept that you're never around. I'm 3 hours away, Mom. Not on another planet. You could visit me. You could call just to talk, not just when you need something. You could include me in family plans before they're finalized. We tried. You never made time. You made time for everyone else. Tyler's graduation, Jenna's kids' events, Dad's business dinners. When's the last time you asked about my work? My life? She didn't have an answer. I showed you my portfolio last Christmas. I continued. I was proud of it. I'd landed some big clients. You looked at it for 30 seconds and asked when I was going to get health insurance. I was worried about you. You were judging me. There's a difference. She stood up. I came here to fix this. To find some middle ground. But you're not interested in that, are you? You just want to be angry. I'm not angry. I'm done. Done with what? Done pretending we're close when we're not. Done making excuses for why I'm treated differently. Done hoping you'll suddenly decide I'm worth the same effort you give everyone else. So that's it. You're cutting us off? I'm stopping the one-sided effort. If you want a relationship with me, you know where I am. But I'm done chasing people who don't want to be caught. She left without another word. That night, Brad texted. Jenna told me your mom visited. You okay? Define okay. There. For what it's worth, you're not wrong about any of this. I've been telling Jenna for years that they treat you like crap. What does she say? That you're sensitive. That you take things too personally. That you need to try harder. Of course she does. But between you and me? I think she knows. She just doesn't want to admit her parents aren't perfect. I stared at that message for a long time. The next week was quiet. No calls, no texts, no surprise visits. I worked, paid bills, lived my life. Then I got an email from Dad. Subject: moving forward. Alex, your mother and I have discussed the situation extensively. We've decided that we need space from you to process everything that's happened. We're disappointed in how you've handled this. Using legal measures against your own family, destroying a trip we'd planned for years, refusing to accept any responsibility for the breakdown in our relationship. When you're ready to apologize and have an adult conversation about your behavior, we'll be here. Until then, we think it's best if we don't communicate. This isn't permanent. We hope you'll come to your senses. Dad. I read it 3 times. They wanted space from me. After excluding me from their trip. After using my credit card without permission. After telling me I wasn't real family. They wanted space. And I needed to apologize. I closed the email without responding. 2 days later, Tyler called. I almost didn't answer, but figured I might as well hear what he had to say. Dad told me he sent you an email, Tyler said. He did. Are you going to respond? Probably not. Alex, come on. You have to meet them halfway here. Tyler, they committed credit card fraud. Then told me I need to apologize. Where's the halfway point in that? They're your parents. They deserve respect. Respect is earned. They've spent years showing me I don't matter. Why should I pretend otherwise? Because they're family. So am I. But that didn't stop them from excluding me from a family trip. He sighed. You know what your problem is? You're so focused on being right that you can't see you're tearing the family apart. I'm not tearing anything apart. I'm just not holding it together anymore. That's the same thing. No, it's not. I've been the one making excuses, overlooking slights, pretending everything's fine. I stopped. That's not me tearing things apart. That's me letting them be what they already were. He hung up without responding. Brad texted that evening. Jenna's upset. Says you're being stubborn? I told her she's wrong. She's not happy with me either. Sorry to drag you into this. You didn't drag me anywhere. I've had a front row seat to this show for years. About time someone said something. That message meant more than I expected. 3 months passed. Summer turned to fall. The Europe trip that never happened faded into family lore. I heard through Brad, who texts occasional updates. Don't tell Jenna I told you. Dad's business loan came due. $10,000. He didn't pay. I didn't pursue it. Not for forgiveness, but because I'd realized I didn't want their money. I wanted acknowledgement. Money couldn't buy that. I blocked their numbers. All except Brad. Clean break. My life got quieter. More clients, more money. Started dating Maya. Went to therapy and unpacked 28 years of feeling invisible. Then November. Brad texted. Jenna's asking if you're coming to Thanksgiving. Tell her no. She wants to know if you'll ever talk to them. Tell her I'm open to talking. But not until someone takes actual responsibility. Real accountability, not deflecting. Thanksgiving came. I spent it with Maya's family. Warm, inclusive, genuinely interested in my life. It felt like what family was supposed to feel like. 2 weeks later, Jenna emailed. Alex, I've been thinking about everything. I was wrong. Not just about defending Mom and Dad, but about not seeing how they've treated you. Brad's been pointing it out for a while. You were right. They do treat you differently. The credit card thing was unacceptable. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. If you want to talk, I'm here. Jenna. I waited a week, then replied. Thanks. I appreciate that. I don't know what happens next. But I'm not in a rush. Christmas Eve, my phone rang. Unknown number. Alex? It's Mom. I'm calling from a friend's phone. I wanted to say your father and I are in therapy. That surprised me. Okay. Our therapist asked us to examine our relationship with you. We've realized we treated you unfairly. Prioritized the other kids. Made you feel invisible. I waited. I'm not calling to make excuses. I'm calling to say we were wrong. And I'm sorry. What about Dad? He's struggling with it. But he knows. Just not ready to admit it yet. So you're apologizing for him? No. For me. For my part. For the credit card. For excluding you. For forgetting your birthday. All of it. We talked for 20 minutes. Different than before. She asked about my work genuinely. About Maya. Listened. I know we can't fix this overnight. Maybe not at all. But I want to try. When you're ready. I'll think about it. After Christmas, Mom called once a month. Short calls, just talking. Dad sent an email in February. Alex, I owe you an apology. What I said about real family was cruel and wrong. You are my son. You've always been my son. I'm sorry. Dad? Not perfect. But something. I started coffee with Jenna monthly. She never pushed, just treated me like a brother. Tyler and I still didn't talk. I made peace with that. Brad continued to be the unlikely hero, the brother-in-law who saw everything and said something. By spring, new normal. Talked to Mom occasionally. Emailed Dad rarely. Had a real relationship with Jenna. Stopped feeling guilty about boundaries. Maya asked if I regretted it. No. I regret it had to happen. But not standing up for myself. The Europe trip never happened. Deposits lost. Hotels cancelled. And my family had to confront what they'd avoided, that I mattered. I never got the 10,000 back. I let it go. Not as forgiveness, but freedom. That money bought me clarity. Family isn't blood or obligation or geography. It's showing up, seeing people, treating them like they matter. My biological family was learning that. Slowly. Imperfectly. But I'd already built a new family. With Maya, with friends, with people who'd been showing up all along. And that family? That family was real.